Welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham and Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio here with you this morning. We'll talk a little basketball. We'll talk a little recruiting. We're also going to visit with Sam Spiegelman, a Rivals analyst covering Texas, Louisiana, some other states as well. We'll get his thoughts, obviously, on Evans and more. The Rivals 100 rankings updated for the final time in the 2020 class yesterday. The Rivals 250 will be out today as well. I need to tweet the link. I'll do that in 1 second while you're talking. But anyway, that's kind of the setup for today. Ole Miss loses in Knoxville pretty handedly by 25 last night, 73-48, the Volunteers over the Rebels. So that is on tap today on the Oxford Exxon Podcast, the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. You know, by now you get to clean convenience store. You get good gas prices, even better gas prices, the mobile rewards program, the Speed Pass Plus app, and more daiquiris, lunch specials, ribs, and more. And you go next door to the Oxford Crystal. You turn your basketball ticket into a coupon, $150 off a sack full or a steamer pack there with the Oxford Crystal. And they're open in Saltillo as well now. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for, and he'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop it around, obviously, or you can do what I recommend that you do, and that's get yourself into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service after the sale. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He'll prove that to you when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Sam Spiegelman will join us in a bit on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Great place for you this weekend coming up. If you're hanging out in town watching some college basketball, it's a football-free weekend. I guess there's a Pro Bowl. I'm not sure that counts. Want to watch some college basketball? Place to watch Ole Miss and Georgia or some of the other games on. All the screens, including the big screen there at Rafters. Highly recommend it. I was there Saturday, watched the second half of Kentucky and Arkansas. Pretty cool place to watch a game. And then on Sunday, 10:45 Bluegrass Brunch, $3 mimosas, $5 Famous Bloody Marys. Brunch starts at 10:45 at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford.
So we'll hit basketball quickly, and then we'll move on. We're going to talk about the NCAA story that's in the LA Times, I guess yesterday, last night. Some good stuff here. Some really good stuff here.
Yes.
We'll get to that. Feels like the old days. We get a little NCAA stuff to go over. We get to make fun a little bit. We get to talk about shrimp cocktails and more here on this here Potato Log Podcast. But nonetheless,
I want my letter jacket.
Do you know where yours is? Do you know where your letterman jacket is?
I think it's at my parents' house still. It's actually something I ought to get because, like, Caroline probably would have fun wearing it.
You think so?
Maybe.
Kind of retro, yeah. Vintage. Sorry, vintage.
People, what's that? That's my dad's letter jacket. That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, I never got mine fully put together. Like I know there are patches laying somewhere at my parents' house that I never actually had put on the jacket from my last year or so.
Yeah.
I think I know where it is.
Caroline got a letter jacket for dance, but I don't think she ever wears it. It just hangs.
So yours is blue with red?
No, mine's red.
Is it red with blue?
Red with gray.
With gray?
We were red and white.
Oh, okay. I thought you were red and blue for some reason.
No.
Okay.
No blue with Bearcats.
What's
red.
West Monroe?
Blue and red.
Oh, they are blue and red.
Rebels.
Okay.
That's
Nasty.
Webb, thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. It's very nice.
Could you do a G-Pits like this from now on?
I think we're going to do we're going to try to do G-Pits this way. We've talked about it. We're trying to figure out times and stuff. Jay and I have talked about doing a Sunday night G-Pits. We're just still kind of playing with the idea. But yeah, at some point for sure, especially in football season, we're going to try to come up with some sort of a regular kind of thing. Our schedules are right now. Our schedules are funky because I'm covering a basketball season that grows more meaningless by the day. He's covering a basketball season that
is interesting, if nothing else.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of basketball interest there, as opposed to here, where I think if we spent more than 5 minutes on it, people would start coming through the computer, stabbing us with knives.
Tennessee 73, Ole Miss 48. Speaking of, 42-23 at the break last night. Ole Miss, frankly, never in this game at Thompson Bowling last night. Breon Tyree continues to score points. Last night, not very efficient. 7 of 22 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3, but not going to hate on him because he's the only one giving them anything. Gets 18. Schuler with a pretty good day, 5 of 10 from the field, 1 from 4 from 3, though. Did not shoot a free throw. 11 points for him. Ole Miss as a team, 5 of 25 from 3, 5 of 11 from the stripe. Terrible at the stripe again last night. Compared to, what was it, Missouri that hit 44 in a row as a team, I believe, something like that. Is that what it was?
Yeah, Missouri lost.
I believe it's an NCAA record over 2 games.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. I'll check that in a second. But I think as a team they hit 40-something in a row, free throws. Something like that. Tennessee paced by a bunch of people anyway. It doesn't really matter. 9-9, 0-5. Look, it is what it is right now. You're going to get more questions over the course of the next month. How much of this is whatever? How much of this is Kermit? How much of this is just a year? How much of this was overachieving last year and not able to back that up? Where do you kind of fall on that bell curve right now?
Well, they definitely overachieved last season.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
No question about that. Terrence Davis was very good last year. Breon Tyree was very good last year with Terrence with him. And Devontae was pretty solid last year. Henson had his moments, had the huge game in Starkville that they won that turned out to be critical. Buffin was good frequently last year. And I can't believe I'm saying these words. Literally, I can't believe the words are coming out of my mouth.
I know where you're going.
Not only did they miss Dom and Bruce Stevens, they missed, what's his name, DJ Davis?
Oh, that's where you're going.
They miss him. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I did not think that's where you were going.
They miss Bruce Stevens, no question. Never thought I'd say that.
Kermit last night reiterating a lot of his previous thoughts about the only way to fix it's in recruiting.
DC Davis.
Yeah, DC Davis. That's
what
right.
What did I say?
DJ.
I mean, that's close.
Yeah, it's close enough. Blamed a lot of players last night, frankly, just keeping it real. But I read that as frustration, not speaking to his team through the media. This media isn't the team's not listening to the post game thing with David Kellum.
No.
That was frustration. That's what that was.
He's frustrated. Yeah, his body language was different last night, especially late. Hung his head a little, kind of trying to figure it out. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'd be frustrated too. If I were him, I'd have gotten ejected a couple times just for the hell of it. And I promise we're not spending much time on this. There's not much to say.
No, we're moving on in a minute. I'm just
because people are like, I can't do it. Well, I mean, we got
a minute.
We got a minute. It's part of what we do. We got to talk about it for a second. I thought from a team standpoint, their body language last night was just awful.
Here's the thing that
and got some text from people in the basketball world who said, "What's up?" And I said, "I don't know. It feels like something must be going on internally."
The part that if I'm from my 10,000 feet view, that would be a little troubling, and we'll see Matthew Murrell coming in. Now you got to back that up with more players. You can't just have one. Got to keep recruiting. Got to fill this roster.
Yeah, but how many?
What's my point, though, is from getting here. You can't just turn over everything because there aren't that many quality players to replace them with. So mass turnover does not work. No. I mean, some of these guys have got to get better in year 2, period.
Yes.
Some of these freshmen.
Yes.
And this is the thing, too. I get a lot of them are young. I get C's a JUCO kid, but some of it's my brother stirring the pot. But a lot of AK debate, a lot of Kermit debate and stuff like that. Out of the guys that played last night, everybody's a Kermit signee except Schuler and Tyree. And those guys had 29 points.
Let me get here on the coach thing.
Yeah, sure.
Andy Kennedy's a really good coach. Kermit Davis is a really good coach. This is a brutally hard job. Nobody's ever won here with any degree of consistency, and Kermit Davis is going to have a hard time doing it too. In reality, it's very hard for people to get players here, and this is about players. There's no sport that's ever more about players than this sport. This is about players.
The ability for this program to get players. That's the question that will determine this in any fashion.
Yes, he's got to be able to go get players. Andy's a really good coach. He did a really good job. Kermit's a really good coach. Look at the job that he did last year. This year, it's not working. Everything that could go wrong has. And for whatever reason, they are not responding to him. They look, body language, a lot like Andy's last team.
They do. And the biggest fear in that is it's year 2, not year whatever that
12.
was. Yeah, whatever.
But it's year 2 with these kids, and you wonder if some of them are just not responding to the message. And it's a lot of them, it's year 1. Crowley lost a bunch of weight when he got sick, and right now he's just not a good player. Henson's just not a good player right now. Buffin's just not a good player right now. That, to me, is the biggest thing, is those two guys have taken a step back.
Buffin had changed his body, came into the year, and he thought, hey, there's a step coming here. And it was.
We were
backwards.
told that it was coming, and it didn't. And Hunter can't play at this level right now. On the defensive end, he's just awful. C's not giving him much. Franco Miller's not giving him anything. Bryce Williams looks like a JUCO kid. He's got some flashes, then he disappears for times because at the JUCO level you can take segments off.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it here. You get exposed. There's nothing left in this season except to see whether people are going to play hard. And last night was the first time that I didn't think they played hard.
And you run into some snowball effect here because they've lost 6 in a row, and the next 3 are brutally difficult. In Athens is going to be a very difficult game.
Yeah.
Auburn and Holmes, a very difficult game. LSU on the road, a very difficult game.
Yeah, the post guys are either going to suck it up or Edwards is going to really embarrass somebody on Saturday. And then,
Georgia played okay last night.
I went to Kentucky and lost by 10. They played all right.
Yeah.
And Auburn's going to come here desperately needing a road win. South Carolina's not a pushover. Listen, this deal, the kid for Vanderbilt got hurt. Their best player, the kid we talked about yesterday.
Nesmith.
Yeah, otherwise we're talking about who could finish last. There are no gimmies in this puppy.
No, at this point, they're going to play on Wednesday and wherever the thing is.
And there's a lot of basketball left if you're going to start throwing in the towel. And I'm not accusing them of quitting, but I didn't like their body language last night. And if they're going to keep doing that, this is going to be a long – dude, we're not through February. We're not into February yet. They've got 7 weeks of this left. I'll be the one in Nashville walking around a locker room after a Wednesday night elimination game going, do you anticipate being back? I've had people say, I bet you're not going to go to Nashville now. I'm like, no, I'm probably going to Nashville more than I was ever going because that's going to be the one opportunity to talk to some guys and ask some really difficult questions in a locker room where some people are going to look at you with those big deer eyes like, I can't believe you're asking me this. And my response is, I can't believe you're shocked that anybody's asking you this. Do you anticipate being back? What happened? There's an autopsy, if this continues, an autopsy to be written that it's got to be written. It'd be 2-16. Philip Shue says this thing is 2-14 written all over it. There are 18 of these damn things to play. It'd be 2-16. And I got to be honest, looking at the schedule right now, it's hard to find 2.
Well, look, if you just had to pick 2 out, it's South Carolina and Vanderbilt. If we said, hey, there's 2, that's the 2.
That's the 2.
And Missouri would be the 3.
Yeah, they get Missouri at home. Bree and Tyrese last night. It's probably a W.
That's probably a W.
They'll get to 3.
It's where Ken Palm is with them now. By the way, Ken Palm has Georgia at 7 and 11 in the league. I was on their page. Yeah, Ken Palm now projecting 13 and 18. Sorry, 4 and 14 in the league.
4 and 14.
But then only 3 percentage wins right now, as we talked about yesterday. So
right.
Anyway, yeah.
So there's your basketball conversation for the day. I don't know. There's questions to ask. It's hard to. You hate to start asking huge, big picture questions in January, but I think that's where we are.
Lose Tyree, may lose Schuler, Joyner, and Morrell coming in.
Yeah,
from a guard wing standpoint.
At this point, if Devontae's leaving, it's strictly a financial deal overseas somewhere, and his stock has dropped this year. He's not played well. He's been distracted.
So did we get the one voter who did not vote for Jeter? Do we have a name?
I didn't. I haven't looked into that.
Okay, I haven't either. Although you don't mind it, obviously.
I don't
You're
mind
good.
it. I don't think Derek Jeter is a unanimous Hall of Fame guy. I just don't. I think he's fine. I think he's a really good player. I know he was Mr. Yankee and he played forever and all that stuff. I get it, but his numbers don't just wow you. They're very good. But there have been a whole lot of guys that, I don't know. How many unanimous? There's been one, Mariano Rivera.
That's it.
Yeah. Jeter's not in the same class as Mariano Rivera.
So you think there's a little course correction there from some cat?
Maybe. I don't have a problem with it.
Keep him out of Rivera's class.
Yeah. I mean, if Lou Gehrig wasn't a unanimous guy, then why would Derek Jeter be?
What's going to be the punishment from the I'm waiting, kind of waiting in the segment before we get into the display thing. What's the punishment for the Kansas State thing going to be, you think?
Ooh.
I looked pretty rough last night.
I mean, multiple suspensions.
Dude carrying a stool around, swinging it.
I know. Someone did that cat a break by catching that stool.
Yeah. Could have been
one
really
of the coaches
bad.
kind of grabbed the stool.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple suspensions. Multi-game suspensions. You can't have that.
Jeff Long with a statement 10 hours ago that says what you think it's going to say, but no specifics as far as what they're doing.
What's it say? Unacceptable. Blah,
yeah.
blah, blah.
The conduct of a few of our student athletes at the conclusion of tonight's game versus Kansas State was simply unacceptable and not reflective of who we are. Well, maybe it is. You did it. Coach Suffenhauer will review the incident along with the Big 12, Kansas State, to determine appropriate consequences. There's no place for the conduct in college athletics here at KU. I'd like to apologize to the Big 12, Kansas State University, Gene Taylor, Bruce Weber, and all the fans for the lack of sportsmanship from members of our team this evening.
No leather jackets for them. No Big 12 rings for them.
I mean, do you see major link suspensions, though?
Yeah.
But do you think they're actually going to hammer this?
The guy swinging the stool, he can't play again this year.
You think he's out for the year?
Has to be. Right? What's the NBA suspension for an NBA player swinging a stool?
50 games?
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, at least 30 games.
Crazy look. Bad look.
Oh, it was terrible look.
Twitter started blowing up, and I was like, whoa, what am I missing? I had to go search around a little bit and figure it out. I wasn't watching that game, obviously.
I wasn't either. Carson came in going, you got to look at this, Dad.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was in here falling asleep on Tennessee.
Well, it was people trying to be a hero at the end of the game. Game was over. Kansas was up 15 or whatever. Just let
the clock
run out.
But you got to discipline. You got to tell your guys, hey, look, technically, if a guy makes a play with time left on a clock, it's still a play. Roll on. I mean, you get pissed off, and maybe we'll see him again somewhere down the road. But you can't do that. It can't turn into that. It just can't. It can't turn into that. How are you that jacked up about something?
His time was out. The game was not close.
No. I mean, so, okay, somebody makes a hero ball play. All right, let him.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. Make some smart-ass comment in the handshake line and be done.
I don't know what it was from. That took over the prize of the dumbest thing I saw yesterday. The two guys wrestling and the dad came in and took out. Did you see that?
Are you allowed to do that in wrestling though? Not the dad's crazy.
The slam thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Surely
know.
that broke his collarbone or something.
That's
right?
not my area. I don't know.
I've never understood. Like, wrestling to me looks miserable.
It's very technical though. I mean, seriously.
I know
it's all about leverage and
it still looks miserable. You don't really think of the body slam like that in wrestling, though. I don't know.
Thankfully, I wasn't covering it. Every time I see something like that now, I just look and go, thank God it wasn't me. I don't have to deal with that today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every beat writer's going, shit.
Oh.
We had a 14-point game. This thing was over. The story's written, and now it's just delete.
Insert quote. I'm going to get out of here. People are starting to think, so what? I think I'm going to go to dinner at.
Yeah. Yeah, you're looking at the time. You're texting whomever, and you're going, "Hey, I'm an hour.
I'm going to be home in an hour. I'm going to pour a glass. It's going to be nice. It's going to be chill.
No.
I'm done." And now all of a sudden it's Control Alt Delete.
That's the sidebar now.
Yeah,
you got more to do. You got more to do.
Oh, hours of work.
Oh yeah, now it becomes
hours of work.
And into today, you're still digging, and what are you going to do? And you're writing think pieces and all this
reaction pieces. Yeah, they had a plan. I was going to get up. They were going to get up, get my workout in, all that. Nope, not today.
No.
I want your job. Your job's easy. Yeah, sure it is. You left the arena and went to rafters. That cat didn't leave the arena until 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. They deliver local to your home or workplace anywhere in the Oxford area. They'll take care of you in that way. They offer MedSync to fill your prescription same day every month to make it easy on you, limit your trips, and get the medicine you need when you need it. Also with Right Way Meds, they'll individually package all the doses with a time and a date to make sure you're taking what you need. That helps save lives in certain circumstances as well. Again, that is Tyson Drugs in the Square in Holly Springs and G&M right there on South Lamar in Oxford, 662-236-2222.
On this podcast, we're always telling you that a trip to Oxford just isn't complete until you stop to visit our friends at Blue Delta Jeans. But in 2020, the Blue Delta team has some great news for our listeners that don't make it to Oxford as often as they should. Blue Delta's new website is a one-stop shop for blue jeans. Pick your fabrics, pick your threads, make all of your customization choices, and order your new Blue Delta jeans online without having to come to the Oxford studio. Visit www.bluedeltajeans.com to get your new pair started today. Don't hesitate to reach out to the folks at Blue Delta anytime on social media or at info@bluedeltajeans.com to get a fitting scheduled today. It's time to get out the bats, gloves, and helmets. Registration for the 2020 youth softball season has started with the Oxford Park Commission, and they'd love your family to spend the spring with them at M Trade Park. Cost to take part is $50. The league is open for ages 5 to 15. Deadline to sign up is February the 7th. For more information, visit oxfordparkcommission.com. Don't just accept what you see, but imagine seeing something new. Step forward and chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen and Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. So call Corinth Dental for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. It's 12 months, no interest, no down payment, financing available at corinthdental.com. Also brought to you by Splinter Creek. It's a gated conservation community. It's located 8 miles southwest of Oxford, 75 minutes from the Memphis airport. Go to splintercreekms.com to check it out, and then make a phone call, 601-898-2772, to schedule a tour with Tom Smith Land and Home Agents today. It's absolutely gorgeous property. If you're thinking about moving to Oxford, retiring to Oxford, you owe it to yourself to put this on the list of places to look. 34 lakefront lots ranging in size from 2 to 25 acres, 650 acres of lakes, pine, and hardwood forest, 6 miles of private roads, well-maintained running, cycling, and hiking trails, a preserve for turkey and deer, flyway for birds, home to bald eagles. The lakes are stocked with copper-nosed bluegill, brim, and largemouth bass. They're maintained professionally by American Sport Fish. It's just absolutely gorgeous property, and you need to check it out. SplinterCreekMS.com. And again, that number is 601-898-2772.
Also, to give you a first introductions to in-house interiors and design. They handle every aspect of designing the home, from windows, doors, paint, light fixtures, lamps, floorings, rugs, furniture, and everything. They travel anywhere, in-state and out of state, with 30 years of combined experience. Brick and mortar location 331 West Main in Tupelo. And they also have a location inside Sugar Magnolia in Oxford that's geared more toward apartments and dorm rooms. And I'll tell you that they're offering 20% off the first 10 dorm room design appointments with them. So more in the coming days to give you an introduction there to, again, in-house interiors and design. So the LA Times Reading here from the top part of that says NCAA working group gathered at a Dallas area hotel to discuss their strategic vision for the billion-dollar organization. Love how they put in there that it's a billion-dollar organization. Good job. Each attendee received a 44-page report marked privileged and confidential, not for distribution, filled with anonymous feedback from top college athletic officials. The document obtained by the Times through a public records request, which seems really weird given the headline, but whatever, provides a rare look into the unfiltered thoughts of 52 university presidents and chancellors, athletic directors, conference commissioners, NCAA staffers, and others on key issues facing the organization. They, in Cliff Notes version, they don't like being made fun of. They do not like a negative light cast upon them, and it is all the fault of the sports writers. If it were not for those damn sports writers, everything would be fine. That's pretty much what it said.
I've been saying this for years. If the damn sports writers would just shut up, everyone would understand the beauty of amateurism and leave it at that. These kids would not be wanting to cash in on their names, their likenesses, their image. They would not want to be compensated for the incredible amount of time that they give, the money that they make these institutions, the exorbitant coaches' salaries. The kids would completely be on board if it weren't for people like me and Stephen Godfrey and stuff who say, hey, you ought to think about maybe paying the kids.
Yeah, quote, it's a hard environment with these sports writers who think amateurism is ludicrous.
Mm-hmm. I don't think people think amateurism is ludicrous, by the way. I think the point is the amateur model, let's be real about it for a minute. The amateur model was always, when this model was formed, how far back you want to go? Let's go to Archie Manning's days, when Archie Manning played at Ole Miss, okay? That era. I think Archie Manning spent year-round in the football facility?
No, of course not. No.
Right?
No.
Didn't show up for film at 6 a.m., wasn't in meetings until 8 and 9 p.m. Fair? All year?
I mean, I'm sure we can get an exact schedule, but yeah, no, I would assume that's fair.
Yeah, the 20-hour rule, which is never enforced by anyone, makes it where there is no rule. These kids are there all the time. These kids, the level of investment for these kids is, at the Power 5 level especially, is such that it's a really complicated thing. The people that want to say, well, they get a free education, they do. And for a lot of those kids, that's great. But for a lot of the kids, if we're being real about it, a lot of the kids wouldn't go to college if it weren't for sports. They're not prepared for a college education. And so they're put in majors and such that the degrees are essentially meaningless. I've used my analogy before about if I win I'm not a boater, right?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not a hunter. I don't hunt. It doesn't interest me. I have nothing against it, but I've never done it. I'll never do it. It doesn't interest me at all. So if you give me a prize, but the prize is this, I'll give you a membership to a prestigious hunting camp, all of the hunting gear that you could possibly want, hunting instructions, tutorials on how to become a better shooter or marksman or whatnot.
Sure.
All the camo gear from the best distributors. If you give that to me, here's the stipulation. You cannot sell it. It's yours. It's me. I'm not doing it. I don't want it. Yeah, but you got to take it, but I don't want it. So I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to put it in my over here somewhere in the corner and let it get dust and stuff. It's the exact same thing. There are a lot of kids that they would be far better off if all they have going for them is their athleticism. Be far better off to have a minor league football league. Go play football. Go play basketball. But the way it is now, the pro leagues feed off of the college model. The NFL has minor league football. It's called college football.
Yeah.
And they don't pay for it. And so a lot of the kids that are playing minor league football at colleges, they shouldn't be college students. So they should be compensated. They should get something for their value, for what they're giving in. It's my opinion. It's the opinion of a lot of people. And while I understand the pushback on that, to me the pushback on name, license, and stuff is ridiculous. If a kid can come and the local Ford dealer wants to endorse that kid, there's no reason that kid shouldn't be able to cash in on that endorsement. That's not threatening.
No, look,
anything.
there is no logical reason to fight against name, likeness, image at all. None. I mean, period. That should be a no-brainer in this. Our conversation on any of these topics should be, hey, that should be fine, and now let's move on from there. Now let's find the correct ways to make it public. Let's make sure the legislative is correct. Legislation is correct. But okay, yeah, all good there. And look, we live in a capitalist country. We live in a country where you're not forced to do anything from bettering yourself standpoint. There are a lot of benefits to doing some routine and some college stuff and getting through those programs. But yeah, it shouldn't be thrust on anybody. It should be their choice whether to take part in those or not.
Yes.
That's my point.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, or neglecting that kind of stupid, potentially. But hey, it's just like protecting NBA players. Hey, you make them go to a year of school because we got to protect them. If they make a bad decision, it's life. Life is about bad decisions and good decisions.
Did Trae Young really need that year at Oklahoma?
Well, no. That's my point. And if you go and you bomb in the NBA, well, that's your fault. You shouldn't have gone.
Shouldn't have gone.
Okay. Have at it.
Oh, I'm completely with you.
I mean, no sympathy for decisions either way.
Ronald Mathis on the live chat makes a couple of points. He says the problem with endorsements is they can be used to bid on players. Players are being bid on right now. Every 5-star on that list getting something. And then he comes back and he's right.
At least it's public.
Yeah. He says it's simple, force colleges to pay the players a percentage of football revenue. I'm with you.
Yeah, if Jimmy Joe Chevrolet wants to pay a kid $500,000, that's his idiocy.
I don't mind them getting a much bigger stipend. And when people say, well, that's going to force the Louisiana Monroes and the Tennessee Martins out of business. Okay, let's get real for a minute. No, it's not. They're going to be in a different business. You're going to have Power 5, and then you're going to have this. And then let the Power 5 play each other. You'll have bigger TV contracts, all that stuff. There'll be more money to pay everybody. And quit doing these ridiculous weekends.
Yeah, you set the Power 5 thing, and you go to Boise and go, who you want to play with? We want to play with the Power 5. Okay,
all
great.
right, well, then you're going to have
This is your rule.
This is the way. This is the cost to be in this club.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to.
No.
It's not mandatory.
And so
it's just if you want to, it's available.
And so when Louisiana Monroe says, well, we're not going to play in that league.
Okay.
Awesome. So now you play in a league where you compete for a championship, and those are the kids who, quite frankly, for the most part, with exceptions, those are the kids that they weren't going to get money for their likeness coming out of high school or as a college junior. And so let them play. There's your amateurism. They're getting a scholarship. They're getting room and board. They're getting a meal plan and stuff, and they're going to college for, quote, free, end quote.
One actually very true statement in this. They says using the word amateurism as a loser long term, one respondent said. We're the only ones left who use it. It's a lack of credibility issue. We're using the word because we have to with these lawsuits. That's a good point. And then the, as you mentioned a second ago, my favorite paragraph in this entire story. One commented, the biggest threat is that the court system will force us to start paying athletes, and that will be the end of amateur sports as we know it. Here it goes. Get your popcorn ready.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we did a better job to show the academic benefits of playing college sports, it would take a lot of the wind out of the balloon. All of the perks like letter jackets, cost of attendance, ring, etc.
A letter jacket.
A letter jacket, a ring.
Man. Letter jacket. With the Nike swoosh on it, of course.
the excessive negative publicity the NCAA gets from sports writers who have different agendas and different values. They don't buy the whole success vision of the student athlete. This has hurt the NCAA in the past number of years. We have to be the ones creating the story because in today's day and age of everyone wanting to get clicks, we have a lot of people out there who will take shots and say things that aren't accurate or factual.
Clicks.
You are getting a glimpse into what that building is like.
The true believers.
Yeah.
What they are is they're fighting to hang on to their business.
One says a main weakness is that we still do not do an adequate job of informing the public about all the good work we do. Missing the point. Nobody said everything you did was stupid. Nobody ever said that. Yeah, we just let them know what we did for Bethune-Cookman the other day. I mean,
JM says, seriously, when was the last time you saw a college athlete wearing a letter jacket? You know what's funny is...
No, we see it a good bit, actually.
I saw some of the LSU guys were wearing like letter jackets to the White House.
Oh, really? No, I've around campus and stuff, I'll see Ole Miss players in letterman jackets.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Typically football more than other sports. I don't know reasons for that or anything else.
It's the perk of it all.
Huh?
It's the perk of it all.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, But yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah, no. Joe Burrow had one.
Did he?
On one of his trips. I think on his trip up to New York, he was wearing a Letterman jacket.
Really?
It was like an old.
Well, they're kind of warm.
It was an old school LSU one with. It was cool looking.
It was a jacket, not one of those leather sweaters.
Yeah, I think it was a jacket.
Jacket.
It looked like a jacket. I could. It was a photo. I didn't get
purple, gold.
It was kind of a gold, but that old school gold. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, old gold.
Yeah, with I want to say like a purple L, but it could have been a different color L. I don't exactly remember. I mean, I didn't like study it or whatnot. I just remember thinking that's kind of cool looking.
You should wear your Letterman jacket. Go get it. Wear it around.
I don't think it fit me.
You don't?
If I can find it, I'll put it on.
You don't think it'll fit you?
I don't know. It might fit me now. I'm closer to that size than I was years ago. I was about 190.
If nothing else, we can get a picture of you in it probably somewhere, can't we?
Yeah.
Judy have one of those?
There's no telling. It's been a day.
Has it?
Been a few days.
It's an interesting story. Not changing anything. It's just another glimpse. Everybody believes what they're going to believe, and we all move on to another day and another trip around the merry-go-round.
It shows you where they stand, how they feel. They're going to press their heels into the...
Well, and again, this is not NCAA employees. This is just athletic officials.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind when people do this, the NCAA, it's like this entity.
The NCAA is the colleges.
Yeah.
It's made up of the member institutions.
And there's a lot of people at these institutions that feel that way, as is evidenced in that story. It's not just the cats at Indianapolis in the room and enforcement.
Oh, no.
I mean, Lee Tyner says hello. Matt Ball says hello. I still think it's fascinating. Matt Ball's working for Bruce Pearl.
It's got to be. It's got to be so fun.
Speaking of Auburn, by the way, Chase.
Yeah, sure. What?
Marcus Woodson has left the Plains.
Okay.
He is joining Mike Norvell at Florida State. He turned down Norvell initially. Then he turned down Lane Kiffin. Norvell came back to him, and this time he took it.
Surprised?
No, not completely, but a little bit. I know the next question is, what does that mean? What's Ole Miss doing? I don't know. I've not heard any names.
We'll talk to Sam here in a bit. Hang on just a second. Let's pay some bills. We'll come back and do this in 1 second. As we change gears a little bit. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Settle County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you can look on underwriting, understand your market, a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and with rates as low as they've been in about 2 years. Good time to talk to Jason, 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
Zach Berry and I taped a soft verbal late last night actually. It will be up probably here in a little bit. It is brought to you by Dead Soxy. They want you to know they've created socks that make an impact. Dead Soxy has teamed up with Vogel Alcove to help young children in the Dallas area overcome the lasting and traumatic effects of homelessness. These incredible socks were created by the very kids this program is serving. With 3 one-of-a-kind designs, each sock tells its own story. So visit deadsoxy.com, click on the yellow banner at the top of the page to visit the collab page. 50% of all proceeds have been pledged to help break the cycle of child homelessness. Extend the season of perpetual giving and support this incredible collaboration. While the promo code will not apply to the Vogel Alcove collaboration, in order to maximize the donation, remember to enjoy the 30% off all other Dead Soxy products with promo code Rebel Grove. We'll have Super Bowl picks up next Thursday. They're brought to you by Southern Craft Stove and Tap. Southern Craft Stove and Tap has your pregame and pre-concert needs covered. Whether you're headed to Oxford for the Rebels SEC basketball slate or to Tupelo for one of the many events at Bancorp South Arena, make sure you get your event started off right with a visit to Southern Craft. Conveniently located off Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue in Oxford and at 205 East Troy Street in Tupelo, Southern Craft has all your Southern favorites ready to serve your hunger needs. So drop in and enjoy a curated cocktail of one of their many craft beers on tap. Don't forget about their catering. From private event to catering in for your staff at work, Southern Craft has your catering needs covered with a meal that everyone is sure to love. So make your day crafty at Southern Craft Stove and Tap. Also brought to you by Nest & Wild. Sleep better with the Nest & Wild mattress. Nest & Wild is a Mississippi-based mattress company making a high-quality mattress delivered right to your door. They make buying a new mattress easy. Every Nest & Wild mattress is 1 foot thick, giving you comfort and support that will last. They are American-made. They're very competitively priced. Throw in the podcast discount, and it gets even better. It's a no-risk decision. Nest & Wild believes in their product so much that they're offering a 99-night trial on every mattress. So try it out. Sleep on it for 99 nights, and if you don't like it, you can return it. Go to nestandwild.com, order your mattress, use the podcast code REBEL20, and get 20% off your purchase. Your mattress will arrive at your door in 3 to 5 days. Martin Palomo and I taped a Mind on My Money podcast yesterday. It will be up today, as it always is on Wednesdays. It is brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi. They have clients in more than 20 states. They have advisors in multiple states as well. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and so much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity, and decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that's built just for you. It's pintrust.com, P-I-N-N trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee.
Antonio Brown and his trainer allegedly battered the driver of a moving truck outside of his residence in Hollywood, Florida, police say on Tuesday.
I'm stunned.
At some point, he's not going to ever play football again. Just get him out of the sports news at this point. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know it's clicks and it's whatever because there's interest obviously somewhere, but dumb guy does dumb thing. Okay, moving on to the next one.
You like the look on CNN right there? Can you see it? The guy that they're interviewing.
He's got on. I have a light in my way.
He's got on a blue, what appears to be a blue and white striped.
Is it a scarf or is it a vest?
No, I think he's got a vest. He's got a navy blue tie, kind of a royal blue, quarter zip. He probably stole it from your collection. And then he's got.
I think I do have that one.
And then he's got a pinstripe navy blue suit. That's a lot. I would get so hot with all that.
Very layered. Yeah, very, very layered. Who is it? Who is it?
Is it a Democratic senator from somewhere? I'm not sure.
Should we get Hogan to comment on the wardrobe?
Bless his heart, his tie's not done right.
Oh, his tie's bad.
Yeah, his tie's
very crooked.
Off kilter and not up enough.
Yeah. He's on CNN this morning, though.
Yeah. He has good hair for a guy his age. I'm jealous.
He does have good hair,
I'm
doesn't
jealous as hell of that hair now. His hair is he's got to be in his 60s. His hair is fantastic.
We don't have his name?
It's like White House or Barnhouse or something. I don't know.
That narrowed it down. Thanks.
Sorry.
So Rivals
fantastic hair.
So Rivals 100 comes out yesterday. Zachary Evans moves up 16 spots from 29 to 13.
He's a very good football player.
6.1, obviously 5-star, number 1 player in the state of Texas, which is notable. Should he sign with Ole Miss, he would be the highest ranked signee since the 2 guys in the 16 class. Shea Patterson, I think, was 2 or 3. Greg Little was 4, I believe. And then obviously in 2013, Kimdichie was 1, Treadwell was 5, and Tunzel was 12 or 13. I don't remember. So
missed that one. But I'll never criticize that.
I mean, they missed it, but when you're ranked 12th, it's not like you're undervalued or you're. I mean, you can't play the lack of respect card.
No.
It's like Clemson. Like, okay, great, you're 3, fine. I mean, it's all good.
In all fairness, I've been critical of some of the Rivals guys before too. Well, not some of them. One of them. His name is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. He's a Democrat from Rhode Island. I was right.
So his last name is Whitehouse.
Is Whitehouse. He should run for president just because of his name.
Sheldon Whitehouse.
Sheldon Whitehouse.
Got a head start, as Arthur would say.
Yeah. Sheldon Whitehouse.
Gonna name my kid Senator. Give him a head start. Love that movie.
Your name is Sheldon.
You're a hooker? I thought I was doing really well. Sorry.
I don't know. I just say when you're trying to rank that many players, you're not going to get it exactly right. There's no way.
But on a re-rank, he would be higher.
Yeah. Oh, real high.
On a re-rank, he would be
Robert
higher.
would drop.
Oh, precipitously.
Yeah.
I don't remember who 2 or 3 or whatever it was in that class, but I think Max Brown was the quarterback in that class, the kid that went to USC.
Yeah. I've been trying to get in touch with him about something.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been able to do that yet?
We've touched base, but
he does not seem very keen on it.
He was, and it's a long story. Seems like a really nice guy.
Okay. Whatever. Probably is the only podcast with Arthur references today, reading from the live chat. I love that movie. It's one of my 3 or 4 favorite movies. I mean, I can, if I'm in a bad mood, I can watch that movie and laugh for an hour and a half. Dudley Moore plays the best drunk guy of any movie ever. It is fantastic. The second one's awful, but the first one is really, really, really good. Yes, as Larry David would say. So anyway, yeah, I was looking up Sheldon Whitehouse for some reason. I don't know why.
Old T.
He is 64 years old.
He does have fabulous hair.
He was the Attorney
64.
General of Rhode Island for a while.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer and politician. He's been the junior U.S. Senator from Rhode Island since 2007.
Okay.
So, married to Sandra Thornton Whitehouse, married in 1986.
What's she look like?
I don't know. I'll click on her in a second. Yale, St. Paul's School, Yale.
Yeah.
A lot of Yale.
Yeah.
A lot of Yale. Hey, Blue. See, he's
repping
the alma mater today. I'm on CNN. I got some Showtime.
I'm going to guess Sheldon did not come from an impoverished background. I'm going to guess Sheldon.
There's a When Harry Met Sally reference with Sheldon, too. I'm going to avoid that one on today's show.
Sheldon was rounding third shortly after birth.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think there's a silver spoon involved in Sheldon's history?
I'm okay with that. I'm just saying.
It happens. Look, it is what it is. Okay.
What's his wife look like? What's her name? I want to find her.
Why?
I'm curious now.
Sandra Thornton Whitehouse. I don't know why you're curious, but sure.
Here she is. Let's see what Sandra looks like. I'm just curious if she's like, what I want to see is she a trade-in?
No.
Appears to be that she's been with him for a long time.
I said 86.
Well, I wouldn't listen to that.
They married for 33 years.
Yeah, good for them. They look happy.
They do in the picture?
In the picture, because pictures always tell the truth.
It's like even worse than social media. You're just like Google imaging something, going, yeah, absolutely, fantastic. They're on this red carpet. They're in love. We didn't talk about the Bachelor the other night. I don't know. I saw none of it, so I'm completely. I saw you were tweeting, but
yeah,
I got nothing.
Well, he sent Aliyah home, but the tease is that she's coming back.
Who's Aliyah?
She was the real dramatic girl.
How you spell
I'm
it?
sorry, Alayah or Yeh or something like that.
Aliyah Petty.
Sure. He doesn't have it's not the most star-studded cast on The Bachelor this year. It's going to take a while to sort of filter this down to the compelling storylines. And quite frankly, they might have to bring some people back in.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Well, he's run off some of the better looking ones. And it's just kind of a.
So we don't have like the one psycho and then the one favorite and then the one girl next door
Not
and
really.
the whole typecast
There's
thing?
2 or 3 that appear to be the favorites, and then there's just this homogenous group of people that are there for no particular reason. And then Aliyah was the one that everybody hated because she was
an orthodontist assistant from San Antonio.
Okay. We had the champagne stealing thing where it was a bit real dramatic about who stole the champagne. I'm not a champagne
She was Miss
stealer.
Texas 2019.
No way.
Aliyah?
I don't think so.
Alayah.
Yeah. Maybe there are 2 Aliyahs.
Well, wouldn't it would have the little last name letter beside it then?
I don't know.
She studied English in college. In her spare time, loves to write poetry.
Sure.
Her spirit animal is the Texas Longhorn.
Doesn't sound like her. Maybe I'm getting the right names mixed up. I don't know. He's run off some babes, though. And he's just got just not a lot
So you're
left.
not interested?
I'm interested because I want to see what's going to happen. But they're not playing up the girl from Auburn yet. She's just kind of there, and you can tell.
That's gonna pick up.
Yeah, they got to incorporate her here pretty soon. But she stayed out of all the drama. She's just off in the kind of hanging out in the distance.
Zach in the live chat. All Faulkner books on tape should be read by Robert Duvall. It's pretty good. Oh, gosh. What time we calling our guy?
Oh, we can call him here in a minute.
Can we?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I've got his, I told him a little after 9, and it's a little after 9.
It's very little after 9, but sure. So how many we got left? Were they down to like 15 or something?
Girls?
Yeah, 12. I don't know.
Yeah.
What is it?
15-ish. I don't know. This is the boring portion of the season.
Because you get the introductions and then you get the bat crazy period.
We have to have and they need her to stick around because she's insane. And so the longer she stays, they can build up that drama. And then we get to, hey, here's who this is really down to. And then they're going to have to bring something back in because this cast is not. Well, the cast was good. He's done them no favors because he's run off all the good-looking ones.
So why would he do that? What's his deal?
I don't know what his deal is. Weird dude.
He's been through this before. You would think he'd know the score.
Yeah, I think he was better as a contestant than he is as the prize.
He's looking for love.
Yeah.
He's worried about the personalities and the compatibilities.
He is. He's gotten up in his head. It's like, dude, come on. This is.
You can find the love of your life here.
They've gone.
Tristan and Ryan happened.
They did. Tristan and Ryan happened. So they're like 1 for 30.
Well, no, there are more than that. There are a few.
Okay, so they're like 3 for 30, 1 for 10. You're hitting 100. So go in understanding. It's like, don't take.
Rafael Belliard hit a home run occasionally.
He did,
Neil.
but he's not known for his home runs. Rafael Belliard kept his money because he could field the ball. So this is your chance. What is Pete known for? He's known for a
windmill.
night in a windmill.
That's it.
So cash in on that. And at the end of it, America will be sick of you, but you'll be satisfied, sated.
As of December 19. What?
I don't know.
What are you laughing at?
I'm such a cynic.
According to the internet, I don't know. I'm reading from the internet.
Okay.
Just the internet. I'm reading from Cosmopolitan. Didn't think I'd be doing that today. 23 bachelor and bachelorette couples who are still together.
JM makes a point. No, it's Georgia Rebel. Didn't Jordan Rogers get married on The Bachelorette? I think he did marry from The Bachelorette, didn't he? He found his wife on the show.
Did he?
I think that's right.
Now, I think some of these came from like offshoots too, like ones that met on like Bachelor Pad or Bachelor in Paradise.
Bachelors in Paradise.
And all that kind of stuff. I think they're technically 16. Or sorry, 23.
What's the name of the place where like couples go as a resort? No kids are allowed? Like in the Bahamas or whatnot?
Well, there are a lot of those.
Well, yeah, but I'm having a hard time thinking of one.
I mean, like a sandals or couples or whatever.
Yeah.
What's your point?
Bachelor in Paradise is sort of like sandals of orgies.
Yeah, several Bachelor in Paradise couple. Kevin Went and Astrid Loke. I mean, you would know these people. I don't.
I don't know.
Dean Unglerett and Kaylin Miller Keys. I don't know what we're doing even. I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone.
This is all on you.
I don't know.
You brought this up, not me.
Well, I was trying to kill time, and I was just talking.
You
and
killed it.
Evan
It's
Ingram
dead.
taking up for Shay last night on Twitter. See that?
Oh, we didn't even talk about Shay.
Yeah.
I bet. What's his name? Sean Sr. is pretty upset at the hand measurements.
You think so?
Yeah, it's probably hitting him.
He couldn't rig those somehow?
Come on, don't you? I mean, they got to have a different way to measure the hand, right? I got a feeling that for Sean Sr., finding out that his son had small hands really bothered his self-esteem.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm almost being totally serious. There's a little.
There's a hint of seriousness.
There's a little
in your,
snark here, but I'm also being serious. Because now he's probably wondering, what does that mean?
The largest hands, Jordan Love at Utah State. A span of about 1.5 inches difference.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, anyway, yeah, I don't know. All right. I give up. I have.
All right, you want to get Sam on the phone?
Yeah, we'll do that 1 second. If you're in our live stream, by the way, when we just take this quick little break, just hang in and we'll be back with Sam, and we'll talk some recruiting in a second. First, I will tell you about Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape from Lawn Care throughout northern Mississippi, but a lot more also, including custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces with paver patios, forestry mulching, and more. Patch your dream backyards easier than you think with Master Cuts. Go mastercuts.com for a free quote. That same free quote at 662-607-7773.
I will have a mailbag up later this morning, probably. It is brought to you by the Westin Jackson, which is home to Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. Also home to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, where you can sip on a creative craft cocktail or enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with the community through local partnerships. So gather at Estelle in the Westin Jackson tonight. Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Whether you're thinking about a golf trip to Europe, or you're thinking about a anniversary trip someplace, whether it's a European vacation or a summer trip to Florida or a cruise with the Caribbean, whatever, John Edwards can take care of you. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. All you do is you get in touch with John, you give him some parameters, you give him a budget, he'll give you options, and no, you don't have to live anywhere near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. It's a podcast that's also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. Get in touch with Gene and Sandy. Tell them that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast. You'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. When you call OUB, you get a live person, no 10 buttons to push, no 5 minutes to wait. You also get Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. So live Oxford, bankoxford.com, or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. And we're brought to you by Bluff City Advisory Group, dedicated to building the future you desire. Founded in Memphis in 2019, their team is comprised of established and seasoned financial experts who came together to serve individuals and families of their beloved hometown. The firm is built on decades of wealth management experience, and they've seen it all. Their financial advisors have a reputation for professional excellence, and their clients rely on their high level of confidence and integrity. So whether you need guidance on developing a financial plan, creating a customized executive benefits program for your business, or preparing a detailed asset allocation analysis, Bluff City Advisory will provide forward-thinking and cost-effective investment strategies customized to uniquely fit each client. 901-365-3447 or email Ben, that's Ben, at bluffcityadvisory.com. And finally, we're brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can reach her on her cell at 662-567-2573 or at Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, 662-842-3844.
So now we'll go get Sam on the line. Again, if you're in the live chat, just hang in. Be back in one.
Sam Spiegelman joins us now. He covers the state of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma for Rivals.com. Kind enough to spend some time with us today, 2 weeks before the late signing period. Sam, thanks so much for the time. I know it's been a busy time for you guys, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, starting to realize that there actually is no off season, but there's always time to join you guys, and I appreciate y'all having me.
It's amazing how there is absolutely no stop in it now, because it just yeah, I don't know that that's a particularly good thing. All right, let's get to Zach Evans first. There are some other guys I want to ask you about, but we'll start there. He jumped up to number 13 in the Rivals rankings. He's unsigned as of this minute because there's some craziness with what happened at Georgia. So we'll start here because I know there's a lot to him. Just as a football player, if you threw everything else out, how good of a football player is this?
Yeah, if you take away all of the off-the-field distractions and insanity and unpredictability, he could very well be the number one player in the country, and I don't think that you would get too much resistance on that. He is one of the most electric running backs I have ever seen, and you could argue that he is the best. I've had a chance to cover guys like Darius Geis and Leonard Fournette, and more recently, John Emery was incredible, and Zach Evans has a little bit of each of their games in his own game. He's a fantastic receiver. I think that's part of his game that we overlook. He's a slasher. He reminds me so much of Aaron Jones on the Packers, how versatile, and that you watch the Packers in the NFC Championship game, and they're trying to find ways to get Aaron Jones going. It's exactly what the story is with Zach Evans. He's a playmaker from the running back position. He's so smooth, he's so fast, but he's also powerful. He's an absolute freak when it comes to one-on-one matchups. And if you're an offensive coach that's trying to create that out of the backfield, Zach Evans is a dream come true. But when you factor in all the off-the-field concerns and just the craziest recruitment that I have ever seen, that's why he gets a little bit of a drop from, talent-wise being a number 1 overall prospect kind of guy to a, number 10, 11, 12, 13.
Can you? I mean, I know we don't have all day, and you don't have all day. And I know there's a lot there. If you had to boil it down into a short essay form, how would you describe the off the field issues?
I've known Zach since he was in the 8th grade. I honestly think that he's a good kid that's been in a lot of bad situations, largely stemming from his recruitment and just the insanity that comes along with a recruitment of a 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid, and all of a sudden is being talked about with Adrian Peterson and some of the greatest running backs ever come from Texas. I remember when his offer started to roll in about 3 or 4 years ago, it'll be, because I remember LSU offered him after his first varsity season, and they offered him on Fat Tuesday. So just happened to be on the lookout that day. And that kind of, it all blossomed from there. Some kids are more mature, some kids are not. And I'm not claiming Zach is one way or the other. But he had a lot of media attention, a lot of fanfare very early on. And I think it got to him. Some kids are able to kind of say, like, I'm just not going to pay attention. And as you guys know, in this business, there's a lot of, sourcing and, who's visiting where and who's leaning this way. And I think that really played a role in Zach Evans and his distrust of the media. I know Zach, I know his coaches at North Shore High School. They are arguably the best coaches in Texas high school football. And that says a lot, as you guys know. And I know his family, and they're all great people. I've never had a bad experience with them personally. But obviously you see that Zach he wavers a lot. He reads into a lot of things. He doesn't trust many people. So there's a lot of false information out there regarding him. It's one thing to be in the spotlight and not want to be it. And then there's a way to put yourself in the spotlight for the wrong reasons. And Zach's probably guilty of both of those. As just a kid, he's a really nice kid. I think he just wants to play football, and the recruiting part gets things so complicated. But I think there's just still a lot of immaturity in him that it needs to be sorted out. You would hope before he even gets to a college campus in the summertime. But as we've seen in the recent weeks, that it's still a long ways away from him being mature and decisive and really weighing his decisions and making the best decisions for himself instead of, trying to appease others or, act swiftly without thinking things through. And I think he gets kind of caught up. And because he's, like you guys said, the number 13 player in the country, there's an even grander spotlight on him. If he was a 3-star running back from North Shore High School, maybe no one's really caring if he signed his letter of intent and then wanted out, 2 weeks later. So you have to look at it from all angles. And like I said, he's a nice kid, immensely talented. He just has some immaturity issues that can certainly be resolved. I think it's all about finding some really good influences in his life that he can really trust, which I think has been a big issue for him the last couple of years.
So let's talk about his recruiting for a minute. He visited Ole Miss last weekend on an official visit. Getting information out of here is pretty tough to close to impossible, quite frankly. I have talked to some people around it who felt like Ole Miss made a pretty strong impression on him. He liked it. It wasn't his first trip. I know Ole Miss followed up pretty quickly with not an unofficial visit. They went to see him there in Houston, saw his family, spent some time with them, I believe, on Monday. Maybe it was Tuesday. I don't know that it really matters. I don't know that he has any other visits scheduled. What are you hearing about his decision-making process? I know yesterday you said things sort of trended towards Texas A&M, which interested me because, and I'm not saying you're wrong or right, and you know how this is with recruiting. It's crazy, and you hear 10 different things and everything can't be right. There are people close to him that have told me, hey, he's not going to end up at A&M, and then you, who I know very good, you said it's trending that way. So what do you think is happening with his recruiting?
The funny thing about Zach Evans is we can all be right? Because it depends on what time of the day that we sent the tweet out.
Yeah,
you know, was
sure.
it 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.?
Sure.
As of yes, so on the Ole Miss front, obviously we're on an Ole Miss podcast. He's always liked Ole Miss. I remember being at North Shore in the spring, and he was talking up Clemson and Ole Miss. And he had just made an unofficial visit there. And obviously there's a new coaching staff in place, and they obviously have continued to recruit Zach. And, I mean, what a quirky little pair that would make, Lane Kiffin and Zach Evans. I mean, that's a pair made for Hollywood. I'm you know, in a selfish world, I'd love to see that those two, you know, interact on a regular basis. I'd love to see them at a podium together at a big bowl game. I think they would be hilarious.
You know what's interesting, Sam, along those lines is I don't think that quirkiness is lost on him. I talked to someone who has talked to him, has known him for a long time, who said that, you know, one of the things he wants is just kind of a fresh start. Like you said, he just wants to go someplace and play. And one of the things that he found appealing about Lane Kiffin is that here's a guy who, you know, fairly or not, it's for other people to determine, kind of got a label put on him and is now getting, you know, a quote fresh start, end quote. And so, you know, that what you just mentioned is not completely lost on Zach Evans.
No, and it's something that I've been thinking about, you know, as we try to get a grasp on Zach Evans' recruitment. I mean, you need to consider all of these avenues. I mean, he loved Del McGee so much because of his track record. And obviously Del McGee's a former Alabama head football coach in the high school level. And you think about Lane Kiffin and what he's went through and why that would appeal to Zach. And I think that obviously if he took an official visit to Ole Miss, it obviously had some sort of pull with him. The interesting thing is you have to, again, consider all of these factors. So I think Ole Miss is a legitimate contender. Do I think that he ends up there at the moment? No. And kind of the interesting parts here is, you know, he's finishing up an official visit at Ole Miss, and then he posts on Instagram of a shot of him in an LSU uniform from months ago, probably his official visit in October. So, you know, that's a mixed signal. As of yesterday, Alabama was again Georgia resurfaced as a team that was now checking back in and trying to go in home with Zach.
Be careful. You're risking your life right now bringing us this information.
Yeah,
be very careful.
It's just a perplexing situation where, like, from just so, you know, all the people listening can understand, Zach Evans was supposed to commit to Georgia on September 5th. We had a story with quotes ready in the Rivals system, but because of some unfortunate circumstances with Zach off the field, you know, that commitment was delayed. And obviously we saw them get back into it and get a signature on the Friday of the early signing period. And we all know the story. He was since released. So it's just incredible to hear that Georgia would still be considered, you know, on January 22nd, you know, 2 weeks before National Signing Day. I think that Georgia is in the mix. I know that Ole Miss is in the mix. I know that Florida has been gaining a lot of confidence because from what I understand, he is supposed to visit on the final weekend before National Signing Day. Do I know for sure he will make it to Gainesville? Absolutely not. I would not blink if someone told me he just didn't show up to his airplane. And then A&M. Now, the weird thing about A&M, there is some confidence on their side as of this past weekend. They are making calculated moves to finish out the 2020 class in a way to appeal to Zach Evans. There is some writing on the wall. You know, they took a 2021 JUCO running back over the weekend. they said they won't be taking any other running backs that aren't named Zach Evans. Obviously, they missed on E.J. Smith during the early signing period as well. He chose Stanford over A&M, and there was a feel that the Aggies were the favorite for E.J. So obviously, if they're kind of not recruiting other running backs, it says a little bit that they have some confidence with Evans. And while he has, gone out of the state to make his visits to Georgia, to Alabama, to LSU, to Ole Miss, he always seems to kind of find his way back to College Station, and not for official, just stops by on certain days. All of a sudden he's there for a game and taking pictures with Damon Demas, and what he's really good at is giving us a hard, difficult situation to grasp. Any one of those schools I could see Zach Evans committing and signing to, and then I could also see him not show up in the summertime. That's just how crazy this thing has gone. I put a future cast in for A&M yesterday based on my conversations with people in that building. There was not an overwhelming amount of confidence in that future cast. It was more, let me just move it off of Georgia. I think that when you factor everything in, the one thing that, Zach isn't exactly a homebody, but you just kind of give the edge to the local team that's just closest to him, that's been able to get him on campus after anytime if he visited LSU for an official, and then he went right back to A&M the next weekend. He was at Ole Miss last weekend. I could very easily seeing him take a day trip up to College Station to reconnect with Jimbo Fisher. I just think that little hometown angle, it's the only factor I can really trust, because I know that Texas A&M isn't going to relocate their campus. So if that's the only solid in this recruiting process to consider, that's what I'm going to go on. And like I said, there is some confidence that when it's all said and done, he does end up there. And that wouldn't be surprising since they've been a staple in his recruitment, whereas Alabama, Georgia, LSU have all seemingly fallen off. And now he's looking at Ole Miss and Florida, which were more mild contenders throughout this whole ongoing saga.
Last thing on him, and I know you probably can't answer this with any degree of authority. No one really can unless you're talking to all of these different compliance departments. Will all of the schools you just mentioned ultimately accept his NLI if he offers it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a risk. I mean, could Georgia? I mean, if you have the chance, if you really believe that you have the culture where he could thrive in, or he could, get past these immaturity issues. I mean, the talent is so intriguing, but it's such a risk. Again, there's also a different Zach Evans than the one that I get to see on practice fields and on Thursday and Friday nights in Galena Park. And there's a different one that I talk to on text or Twitter, and there's an angle that maybe he's just a misunderstood 17-year-old kid, and that's not the craziest thing in the world to believe. We were all teenagers once, and some of us were bad teenagers, and some of us got over it, when we got older. So I would say that, of the schools that are still recruiting him, they're doing so because they believe that he's a good kid, and there's definitely plenty of evidence that suggests that. And the talent is off the charts. So if you're, a school like Ole Miss or Florida, and you need a running back, there isn't a better one in the country that's signed or unsigned. It's Zach Evans, and then there's everyone else. And having seen a lot of these guys that we have ranked as 5 stars or the top 100, Zach to me is the clear-cut best one of the group. So yeah, he may be the biggest boom or bust prospect in this class. I mean, he surely is. You got to just ask yourself, if you're the head coach, is the juice worth the squeeze? And for Zach, I'd probably take that. If he signed 2 running backs, I'd love for one of them to be Zach Evans.
All right, last couple minutes with you, and really appreciate your time, Sam. Ole Miss has a commitment from Robert Scott, who from Conway. I haven't even checked out all of the re-rankings. I don't know if he's still the number 1 player in Arkansas or not, but he's an offensive tackle that a lot of people like. I know Florida State's in it. Arkansas is in it. Ole Miss is still in it. What do you anticipate there?
He's from Arkansas.
Yeah, from Conway.
Yeah, so I take over Arkansas for 2021, so he's still technically a Woody Womack guy.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
Political lines.
No. I get it. In Texas, a couple of the names that have popped up, really, we haven't checked them out that much because they're just kind of brand new names that we've heard, as happens with, new staffs. Trey Bradford from Lancaster, Texas, a running back, ironically, that gets talked about a little bit in some circles. And then the other name, Princely Uman Milan from somewhere in Texas. I can't read
from
my
Manor.
writing. Manor, yeah.
Yeah, so Bradford just had an incredible senior season. I got to see him in September, October, and dude has a bigger frame than Zach Evans, and he's probably a little bit faster. Obviously, the twitch and explosiveness that Zach has compared to Trey is a little bit off, but Trey Bradford is a really good running back. His recruitment has been very quiet and very calm. He was close to committing to Wisconsin over the summer, elected to hold off, picked up offers from Ohio State and LSU. He officially visited Ohio State. We kind of thought he would be committing at the tail end of that visit. That never transpired. Early signing period came and went. Talking to people in the Lancaster High School building, they just said that he wasn't ready to make a decision. Wisconsin has since added a top 100, top 250 running back in Jalen Berger. Ohio State has kind of shifted its gears toward Jahmyr Gibbs out of Georgia. Is committed to Georgia Tech. I know they actually have kicked the tires on Zach Evans as well. But Bradford right now is getting recruited by LSU and Texas, and those are the two schools that I feel are in the best position for Bradford. LSU has yet to land a running back in this cycle, and given how well their offense did this year, they just kind of have to pick and choose their guy at running back. But Texas is going to make this really difficult. They're at Lancaster today, visiting with Bradford. They may have already offered. They may offer today. They may have privately offered and just kept it under off social media. But I expect him at either LSU or Texas when it's all said and done. Princely Uman Milan is a really interesting case because I don't feel that he has to stay in the state of Texas. He lives a few minutes off of Texas's campus. He was committed there for a good period of time, but he decommitted actually just days after Auburn and then Florida offered him. He has stated to me he has a desire to play in the SEC, which is interestingly enough, and he's really not even considering Texas A&M, which he's visited a ton over the last couple of months. He's never mentioned Ole Miss to me personally, but when you talk about the other teams that are really recruiting him, like Florida, like Auburn, USC, and then Texas, I'm not inclined to really push him in any of those directions because I don't think he loves any of those schools so much. So he could be, due for a signing day surprise or something crazy in the next couple of weeks, a little bit of the unpredictability factor because, he's a kid that, like I said, wants to play in the SEC, doesn't mind leaving the state of Texas. And, maybe he also has a little bit of a quirky personality. And we talk about the Lane Kiffin factor that might appeal to someone like Princely.
All right, last thing, I really appreciate your time. Cade Renfro signed with Ole Miss in the early period. He's on campus now. I think he started class on Tuesday. What were your impressions of him as a high school player? How do you project him as a college quarterback?
Yeah, well, I got a call over the summer from our Florida analyst Rob Cassidy and said, "Hey, like this guy just came up to Florida State camp and he was awesome. Have you heard of him?" And I had to go through some old DMs, but he was committed to North Texas. And he's one of those guys that you're kind of watching him on tape and you're wondering why so many more teams haven't offered this guy. He's got a big, smooth, solid arm. I think he could chuck it all over the yard, which is going to be really fun when you put him in the Ole Miss offense and get some of those big receivers going downfield. I'm trying to keep my NFL bias out of this, and try to give you a comp, but he's not. It's a strong arm, but it isn't gonna. It's gonna be more impressive as he chucks it downfield. I don't see him kind of picking apart guys and like a Peyton Manning in the short part of the field. Like he's more of a big guy downfield, but he can also make throws in the intermediate game with a decent amount of accuracy. Again, I think the arm strength is the most appealing part. He can move a little bit, which is interesting. Obviously, given the last few Ole Miss quarterbacks, the mobility has been a big factor, and I think that Cade can fit right in. I think Lane has really liked him for a long time, so it's interesting to see them, reconnect at Ole Miss. But I think he's a potential Layden prospect. If you look at his high school tape, it's good, it's appealing, but you know that he hasn't scratched the surface. So, pairing him with someone like Kiffin, I think is ultimately the best situation for him. And I think he's going to come up with a lot of those, big, SportsCenter highlight plays. Once a week, we're going to see the Ole Miss offense explode down the road because Cade has a big arm. And if he can really, hone in on his route tree and his mechanics and, developing chemistry with his receivers and engaging himself in the offense, he could be a big play threat downfield for Ole Miss down the road.
Well, Sam, as I said, really appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Thanks so much, and probably talk to you a little bit in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
That's Sam Spiegelman. Thanks, Sam.
Appreciate Sam giving us a little time today. That will close it for today's podcast. Plenty of stuff there to discuss as we move forward. I guess we'll have Jeffrey Wright tomorrow and more rebelgrove.com throughout the day as well. So appreciate everybody in the live stream for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the podcast. Have a good day. Take care.